In this module, we are going to discuss about classification of research. We classify research based on the use and audience. That means who is going to use our research. We classify research based on the purpose. We classify research based on the case or the unit of analysis. We also classify the research whether it is done at a single point of time, cross-sectional, or it is carried out over a period of time. And also, we classify the research based on the data collection technique. Let us try to understand each of these techniques in detail. Classification based on the use and the audience. This classification rests on two fundamental aspects, whether the research is a basic research or an applied research. Basic research are the advances of fundamental knowledge around the world. Take, for instance, gravity, speed, velocity, the germ theory. These are the basic mechanisms around which the world operates. The research is designed to understand, advance the fundamental knowledge about how the world works, build a trustable theoretical explanations by focusing on the why question. The audience for this type of research is the scientific community. Applied research. The basic research which was discovered is applied in a specific context. The touch-operated touch screens was invented. Capacitive-based touch-operated touch screens was invented in the year 1960s, but it gained applications in a common domain when the mobile phone technologies were quite dominant. So applied research tries to shape the findings through many products and services which can be used by common man. It offers practical solutions to concrete problems. Take, for instance, is genetically modified food hurting the children's growth in Namibia? Can indigenous medicines cure COVID-19? Then we classify research based on the purpose. First, we classified research based on the use and the audience. Now we classify research based on the purpose. When a body of knowledge develops, take for instance, workplace sexuality. It is a concept which has received less attention. So in the initial phase, we would want to describe or paint a picture as regards to what constitute workplace sexuality and what does not. What are the positive sides of it and what are the negative sides of it? We need to describe this. So you provide a detailed and highly accurate picture of this phenomena of workplace sexuality. Locate data where exactly it's happening. Is it in the shop floor? Is it at the middle management level or at the top management level? Which type of gender is affected? What are the age groups? And so on. We need to categorize things. We need to sequence things in order to understand how does this happen and report a background or a context of a situation. In other words, we try to describe here the research phenomena under study. A second purpose would be exploratory. We need to understand, once we have described, we need to understand what are the causes, what are the various factors which may impact this particular workplace sexuality or deviant behavior in a workplace. So we become familiar with the basic facts, settings, concerns. We create a mental picture as regards to understanding who is getting more affected, what could be the reasons between for these factors. But at this time, we are not in a position to test whether A causes B or not. We develop new ideas, conjectures, hypotheses, propositions, and we determine the feasibility of conducting such a study. The third type of research is called explanatory research. The purpose is to explain. And suppose we know what are the factors which can cause workplace sexuality, then now we venture out to test those, either in an experimental basis or on a survey, and we get a result. And then we want to explain now, why did A cause B? Take, for instance, we find the results that young boys are abused by bigger men who are older men. Then we want to explain now why is this done? Why is this happened? So classifying research based on the purpose, you could classify it as descriptive studies, exploratory studies, and trying to explain the things. The third type of classification could be whether it is within or across the cases. A case study is one of the most versatile form of studies to understand why did a particular event or a phenomena occur. And the unit of analysis could vary from an individual to a society. From an individual point of view, a group could be like, why did a person behave in a particular manner? Then we may want to understand in more detail as regards to what are the various aspects within the particular person, what has led to a particular event. Take, for instance, our previous example on workplace sexuality. In that case, we want to understand, why is a person exhibiting deviant behaviors, or why is he indulging in harassment of the other colleagues, of whether of same gender or another gender. Then we analyze it within the case, various aspects. If it is across the case, we take up similar individuals who are indulging in harassment, workplace sexual harassment of colleagues, and then try to understand the similarity or dissimilarity in characteristics by studying across the units. Now, this could be individuals, this could be organizations too. Take, for instance, in which organizations or what type of organization, maybe workplace sexuality is more dominant, and then try to do within the case and across the case to understand this phenomena more in detail. The next type of classification could be cross-sectional or longitudinal. As we say, in a cross-sectional, you study it at one particular time point. It's like crossing a fruit at one particular time point and then trying to understand the various phenomena associated with it. Such types of studies are correlational studies. However, if we want to study a longitudinal manner, take for instance, what is the impact of workplace sexuality over a period of time? From the employee he joins to over a period of time, what are the different types of experiences he or she goes through? These have to be investigated. Then it could be a longitudinal study. If at one point, if I want to study how many people are experiencing the negative effects of workplace sexuality, then it could be a cross-sectional study. And we also classify the research method based on the data collection technique. When you talk about data collection technique, whether it's a quantitative study, data is numerical, whether it's a survey, it's an experimental study, or non-reactive research methods like analyzing the existing secondary data and then trying to understand, making meaning out of it. These are called quantitative studies. Qualitative study, where the information is not in numbers. It could be in photos, maps, interviews, observations, documents, and so forth. The field of research is more studying the experiences, phenomenologies, phenomena, lived in experiences on either a small group, individual, over either a single point of time or over a length of over a period of time. Usually such studies start with loosely formed research question and then it moves on to understand the mechanisms behind this particular event. Third type of study is called as mixed method study. Here we study this method, the data is quantitative data and qualitative data. This helps us to analyze both these data in order to gain a deeper understanding of the research problem by providing a complete picture of the problem being studied. Here, we have to keep in mind that the same research question is studied by qualitative and quantitative data in order to give a better interpretation. There are three types of mixed method research. First one is called convergent mixed method. In convergent type, you use quantitative and qualitative study on the research question at the same time. And then these data are analyzed together in order to bring out the findings. As the name suggests, convergent, both are done together. Explanatory research method. This type of research method, quantitative study is done first, followed by a qualitative study. Take, for instance, you conduct an experimental study and you find that group A and group B, there is a statistical difference. But why does this happen? I need to supplement it by a qualitative study in order to understand what characteristics of the group has caused this particular impact. Now, so the study is now explanatory. You found the difference and you are trying to explain. So quantitative followed by qualitative study. Exploratory mixed method. In this case, we are trying to explore the phenomena, and after exploring it, we want to confirm the phenomena on a larger sample using quantitative study. Though it's the same research question, first you are qualitatively exploring it and then testing it in a quantitatively. So here our objective is first to explore and then test the phenomena on a larger sample. This brings us end to this module.